welcome to Final Fights, presented by Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is still freaking out about that elbow drop that Nomak dropped on Blade in Blade 2. It's Hakim Robinson.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Now, that elbow drop, when Nomak landed that elbow drop
right
in Blade 2, did you jump out of your seat and just pick up the person next to you and run around the theater with them?
I fell for Blade. That was a hard. That was one of them WWE. That was a tough one. Blood splattered out of his mouth. It was tough.
And I'm really glad that you brought up blood splattering out of his mouth, because on this Blu-ray for Blade 2, there's 3 commentaries, and there's one by Guillermo del Toro, there's one with Guillermo del Toro and one of the producers, and there's one with Wesley Snipes and the writer David Goyer.
David Goyer. Yep.
And what they loved about this fight is this one was a superhero fight. The first one that you can go back and listen to the episode that we recorded about Blade, the fight between Deacon Frost and Blade, and that was epic. But this was a destroying concrete, walls, like buildings. I mean, this was a street fight, street brawl that just felt epic almost on every level. And it seemed like between Del Toro, what he said was, I don't want Blade leaving this fight uninjured. I want Blade to be bloodied. I want Blade to be hurt. I want his ribs to be jello. I don't want him feeling good about this brawl. And you can get that from him. At the very end, Blade looks like he wants a nap.
Yeah, Blade at the end of this fight, and in comparison to the first film, Blade was standing up. Matter of fact, as we said, Blade kicked serum into the head of Deacon Frost at the end of the first one. This second fight, climactic fight for 2, Blade is on the ground. He grabs his ribs and falls to the ground to watch Nomak die.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's just beat up. I mean, Nomak took it to him. My favorite part of this fight, aside from the elbow drop, is when Nomak has just wiped the floor with Blade, which I like a lot about Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes has he's secure enough with himself to get beat up in a movie. And I really respect that about him. Mm-hmm. And what I like when Nomak struts around the metal, like he pushes down the metal structure at Blade.
And then walks around in slow motion. Yeah.
With that strut, like Luke Goss in this scene. I dug his body language. I really liked the physicality he brought to it. And I like how this fight starts. They're just so pissed off at each other that they sprint at each other.
Right.
They just run headlong into each other. And then they're throwing uppercuts and elbows, and there's sweat. And people's arms get broken, and then they heal their arms, and then they use that arm to elbow someone in the head. Like, this is So I was listening to the commentary, and Wesley Snipes loves this fight. And there's a scene where Nomak has Blade in a bear hug. So, like, Nomak is behind Blade and he's squeezing his chest. Mm-hmm. Blade first tries to go for, like, his feet to, like, trip him, and then he tries to work the wrists. Then he realizes the wrists don't work, and then he turns around and just gouges him in the eye.
Right.
And Wes is like, street fight. He's like, I love this. Like, this is the best. And this fight, like, it was epic. It was an epic 2-person brawl, and I love it because of that.
Well, I enjoyed this fight. I mean, this had CGI in it. The first fight didn't. So I would think, as far as authenticity, from Blade 1, the final fight, it felt more real.
Yeah.
But with this second one, it was so climactic and so epic. It to me, it surpassed the first final fight. The first final fight was you could tell it's in a studio that's well lit. We could see everything. In Blade 2, in this final fight, it was dark. It was gloomy. It set the mood. I mean, the opening was Blade jumping off about a maybe 30, 40-foot ledge to stab Nomak in close to the chest or close to the heart with a blade. And Nomak breaks it, takes it out of him, and goes after Blade.
Oh, man. And that establishes Nomak as such a great villain. I don't know if you noticed this, but what I like most is in the production design in it, Guillermo del Toro made 2 DNA spirals on each side.
Okay.
So like these two different hybrid creatures are battling, and there's two dueling DNA spirals in the room.
That's what that was. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like Del Toro's a maniac, is he not?
Oh man, he's an attention to detail. He's a really good director.
And I also dig how at the end when Nomak dies, it's a homage to Hammer horror in the way that Christopher Lee died. The kind of old school effects, how he's kind of burning. So he included like old school Hammer stuff, DNA spirals. You have this entire room that I bet was just built based on specs to have people beat each other up. And I don't know if you know this, but Wesley Snipes really hurt his knee in this film.
No, I didn't know that.
So they were shooting overseas in Europe, and then they had to go reshoot this in LA with a brand new set. And so the shooting went a lot slower than they liked it because his knee was bad.
Did he say at what point he hurt his knee?
Yeah, Wesley does. During the fight, he's like, that's when I hurt my knee. And, you know, it's funny. Del Toro had all the coverage, and he said this twice on both commentaries. So Del Toro said, okay, I'm ready to move on. And Wesley's like, no, let me get the shot. And Del Toro's like, we don't need it. Wesley's like, let me get it. So then Del Toro went to the entire crew. I got everything I need. Wesley wants this shot. And on that shot, Wesley blew, like tore his ACL.
Wow.
But that's kind of a crappy move, though. Del Toro's like, I got everything I need. This is on him.
I'm trying to put it on him.
And then pop. But you can't tell it in this scene. Like, you really can't notice that. And I don't know. I just love this fight. I don't know. These are the kind of fights I like. You're right, though. There is some CGI, but it also features Wesley Snipes headbutting a vampire mandible in the face. Like, you know that scene with Nomak when Nomak busts out that weird thing from his mouth. He just catches Wesley Snipes headbutts him.
Trying to impregnate Wesley, you know. Yeah. So that was this climactic scene, the build up for it. I mean, there was about 4 to 5 set pieces, like action sequences for this film, more than the first Blade. So yeah, I feel like they have more intimate fight scenes throughout Blade 2 than Blade 1 to lead up to this.
Because in Blade 2, you have the motorcycle fight, and then you have they fight in the kind of church, and then there's the blood rave, and then there's the underground fight, right?
You're missing one.
Which one is it? Oh, when Nisa comes in and they fight in front of the lights.
That's one. The other one is at the beginning when you say the motorcycle fight. Remember, he follows those guys into the room with the Russians that were getting high. Yeah. And then they continue that before he gets Whistler. Mm-hmm. So that beginning, that intro, is a 2-part fight scene.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, it's a 2-part fight scene. So you had that one you got in the club, you got in the church, you got the one in front of the lights, you had the one with Ron Perlman at the end. Yep. You know, you have, I'm up to about 5 right now. And
yeah. So we're at about 5, and then I guess we still got to count. Oh, Wesley beats up all the guards on the clear surface. He beats up all those guards.
But that's the one with Ron Perlman.
Oh, got it. And then Nomak, you only see the aftermath, but he drinks the blood of about 40 guards.
Yeah, he kills all of them.
These poor henchmen.
Yeah.
I would give every henchman a grenade. Seriously, like they have sticks in this movie. Just give them all grenades. Like you're gonna die, pull the pin, right?
That's an interesting thought there, Mark. That's interesting.
I need to hire henchmen more often, man. What do you think?
No. You wouldn't have a movie, man. You're making these henchmen like, you know.
Yeah, you're right. I can't have 100 Nomaks as henchmen.
No, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Nomak was a good bad guy. He was cool. He wasn't pressured. I think there's a scene where he's walking. Either he's going to get his dad or to kill his dad, and the guys are shooting at him. He's just walking calm. He wasn't pressed. And then the turning point to find out him and Nisa are siblings.
Yeah. Damaskinos was a bad dad.
Yeah, he was a bad dad. What I really liked were in the film where they're in the club. I guess the club thing is a theme. Yeah. Where his whole team. We also forgot when they were in the tunnel, like the supers. You know, that whole thing with the grenades and the what's that?
The UV grenades.
UV grenades. Yeah, we forgot that. So that's a whole sequence of fights, and so yeah, this film was filled with action.
So I guess it's pretty interesting. There's almost a fatigue that could happen with this final fight, and that's actually happened with me before, where it's just been so much action where the final fight's kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting how they build to a final fight that lives up to the hype.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this must have taken a lot of work, and I really like the uppercut that is thrown by Nomak that sends Wesley flying into the elevator, right?
Oh, wait. So that's my favorite part because that's the Nomak fake.
Yeah.
Nomak puts his left hand up. Wesley kind of moves back a little bit, and he catches him with the uppercut. Yeah, that's my favorite part of the fight scene right there.
Nomak's got some MMA boxing skills here. and also Nomak had kind of won that. Did Nomak win their first fight in the cathedral? I can't remember. It was a stalemate, maybe.
I remember the Blade got caught in some concrete and fighting, and I think he runs off. No, what happened was Wesley does something to where some sunlight comes in. Nomak gets.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
He hops on the wall like a spider and trickles out of the fight scene. Yeah.
But I just kind of like how this one continues to build. I mean, you have head kicks, you have he gets his arm broken, and then how do you feel about the end when I don't want to get to the end yet, but when I guess I really like Nomak's fighting style. He's like a honey badger. Like he's a human equivalent of a honey badger. Would you say?
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't stop.
Yeah. He kept going.
He fights angry.
But go ahead.
What's up?
No, I said go ahead.
No. I just like that. I just like that Nomak fights angry. And I think Blade, when you watch him fight a lot, he's not angry about it. He's just sort of, he gets a little pissed sometimes, but he's more kind of cool, methodical.
Yeah.
But then Blade gets pissed off. So you have these two angry dudes.
Oh, yeah, in this fight scene.
Because Nisa, he killed Nisa. And so, man, it's got to take a lot for Blade to just run at you, like to willingly just plow into you. Because he's not that kind of fighter.
Yeah, he's taken on a whole bunch of people at one time. And like you said, when we talked about the scene before this where he fights all the different, I guess, henchmen and Ron Perlman, he cuts him in half, right? So he gets to Nomak, and as you said, throughout the movie, they built up to the hype. So I was actually a little exhausted when we got to this fight at the end saying, oh my God, Blade got to fight this guy now. Mm-hmm. And it worked because he got his butt whooped for a little while. Like Nomak really brought it to him, for I think 75% of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
That was Nomak's fight.
That elbow drop.
The elbow drop. I mean, because he went high up in it. Then he went up in the air to come down. And Wesley moves out just in time. And Nomak brought it to Blade. So,
I think that says something about Snipes as well, that he allows himself to get beat up. A lot of fights nowadays, a lot of these fighters don't really allow themselves to get beat up like that. I love the Fast and Furious movies, but they don't, like a lot of these guys don't want to take butt whoopings. And Blade, he took a butt whooping in this movie.
Yeah, and the Fast and Furious, they're not superheroes. Blade was a superhero. So, and like you said, when Nomak grabs his leg and spins him around and smacks him on the pillars and, great fight scene.
Oh, yeah, he threw him like 30-some feet.
Yeah, he threw him, and then Wesley comes down on his knee, holding his rib, and some of it is CGI, but some of it isn't. But they just did a really good job with that scene for me.
They had to go with more. They had to go with the elbow drops. Because it had to wake audiences up, mm-hmm. right? Because we had just watched so much chaos and so much death that actually we had watched Blade just destroy all those guards. So I think I guess if you think about the psychology of a fight scene, Blade just destroyed everyone. Then you kind of got to have him lose, and then he makes the comeback. I guess it's like every good WWE match, but I think they did a good job bringing you back from exhaustion. And I dig that. And then what do you think about how Nomak dies? I mean, Nomak, basically, he knows he's mortally wounded, but he's the one who finishes it. Do you think that? Do you like that? Do you think do you think Blade gave him that?